on the line. Fish on the line. Oh yeah. On the deep line. Fish on the line. And I got my other rod in, so that's good. Ooh, this is a horse. This is a nice fish. Oh boy. Oh boy. Oh, I'm gaining nothing on this fish. I am gaining nothing. Come on, baby. Into the last color of lead now. He hit like a ton of bricks. We'll see if he's as big as he feels.
What do you think it is?
Oh, it's a trout. It's a trout. For sure. This is right where I caught that, well, where I hooked and lost that big one. I'm right in the same spot. So hopefully it's his twin sister. We'll see. Just real gentle here. Pedaling kind of quartering into a wind and pedaling to keep the fish under control. Oh man, head shaking there. Oh, he's pulling drag. Woo, buddy. Oh boy, that's what you come to Lake Davis for, guys. Still haven't seen him. He's right there though. Get a flash once in a while. Oh, he's a nice fish. Come to daddy. Oh, this is a nice heavy holdover. Come here. Come on, baby. Come on, you're tired. Come on, you're going in the smoker. Come here. Oh, gotcha. Ha ha. Oh, that's 3 pounds. That's every ounce of 3. That's a nice fish. Oh, buddy. That's a stud right there. That is an awesome fish. That's the fish of the day. That fish is probably real close to 3 pounds. He's only about 17 inches, but he is husky, he is hefty, and what a fight. What an incredible fish. That's what you come to Lake Davis for. He couldn't lay off that orange fly. We retrieve that fly here. He could not lay off that fly, and that was down, I don't know, probably close to 20 feet, 17, 18 feet, something like that. I was kind of quartering into the wind, 1.6 miles an hour, and that guy just came along and he hit like a ton of bricks. Howdy guys, Cal Kellogg here. Big trout, small trout, medium-sized trout. Over the last several years, I've literally caught thousands of trout on Leadcore outfits of various configurations, and I still have a lot of questions about Leadcore, and I went a long way towards having some of them answered over the past couple weeks. To make a long story short, I reached out to a walleye guy I met through some forums, and walleye guys back east, they use a lot of Leadcore line, and I started asking him trout fishing questions, and he said I should talk to his friend Ron, and he hooked me up with this guy named Ron that fishes the Great Lakes. And I asked him, I says, is Ron going to be willing to talk? He goes, well, it's never a problem getting Ron started talking, it's a problem getting him to stop. So we started out online, and then I actually had a series of phone calls with Ron, and long story short, he's got about 4 decades of experience running Leadcore line. And I asked him the question, one of the first questions I asked him, I said, does it seem like you catch, and this is, one of my Leadcore outfits right here, one of my yellow Leadcore rods. I said, does it seem to you that you catch more fish when you're running Leadcore? And he said, in a lot of situations, the answer is yes. And he had some interesting theories as to why and how you can enhance your Leadcore to catch even more fish. So the first thing he told me, or he asked me, he says, did you ever notice, and I've talked about this on the channel and I didn't know why. He says, did you ever notice that, you're trolling open water and all of a sudden your Leadcore will get bumpy, it will start to feel kinked inside the sheath, and then you'll start to see some little pieces of Leadcore actually poke through the sheath, and you have to change your Leadcore. And I said, yeah, absolutely. And I don't understand why, because I use trolling swivels, I use rudders, I use all that stuff to prevent line twist, and I still seem to get line twist into that Leadcore. And he said, it's not being transmitted to the Leadcore from the lure, it's the Leadcore itself going through the water. He said Leadcore does some
interesting things. And of course, this is all theory based on experience. There's really no way to measure these theories, but his thought is that Leadcore, it sinks into a belly as it goes through the water because it's heavy. And anytime you have something, shaped, like a inverted rainbow or a U shape going through the water, it's going to tend to oscillate. And he thinks that oscillation actually creates more strikes. Another thing he said that Leadcore does for you is when you make a turn or you're maneuvering the boat or you're varying speeds, you get a lot of up and down movement on the lure because the line, it's made out of lead. It wants to sink. So it translates to subtle movements in the lure which turn following fish into striking fish, if that makes sense. His final theory really blew me away. He said, I don't know what kind of lakes you fish in California. He said some of the Great Lakes are very reactive in terms of if you leave your boat in a marina, you'll get growth on your zincs right away. Well, that's a coincidence because Wes and I have had our boat up at Collins Lake and we noticed we got growth on the zincs very quickly. He said, well, if you're fishing a lake where you're getting that growth on those zincs in a short amount of time, you know that water is pretty reactive. And he said, when you're pulling Leadcore line through the water, it's reacting with the Leadcore line and it's putting out very subtle electronic impulses. And he described it as something akin to what's put out by an E-chip. And he is a firm believer that the impulses draw fish in and the subtle movements created by the Leadcore all combine to create more hookups and to put you on more big fish. And he said, you can start testing this for yourself. He said when he started out fishing Leadcore, he was running 100-foot top shot. And he noticed the shorter the top shot or the shorter the leader he used, the more fish he caught. Which you would think the opposite would be true. You would think more leader, more stealthy, gets it away from that heavy Leadcore, you're going to catch more fish. He said, no. The closer you get the lure to the end of the Leadcore, the better off you are. He said, there's a sweet mix between being too close, but there's also a mix between being too far away. And he's really got me kind of rethinking the way that I rig up my Leadcore. Now, I've got a few weeks left in my guiding season for this winter, and in the off season, I'm going to spend a lot of time dialing in my Leadcore outfits and doing some serious experimentation. I mean, I'm catching a lot of good fish on my Leadcore right now, but as you know, if you've watched my Leadcore videos, I'll just run through it real quick. I use two basic setups. Everything has 20-pound braid backing, 3 colors of Leadcore, and a top shot of 20-pound fluorocarbon where I attach my leader. The main difference between the two rigs is one has a 25-foot top shot. That's the Leadcore outfit I use for fishing in deeper water, say 10 to 25 feet deep. And the other one has a 50-foot top shot that I can actually, top line with it, or I can put out one color. And that extra length of top shot allows me to get further behind the boat while just using one color of Leadcore. But based on what I heard in those conversations, I'm really thinking about shortening up the section of Leadcore that I use to fish shallow, maybe to just a color and a half, which will enable me to run a shorter leader and to enjoy more of the benefits of the effects of Leadcore, whether it's electronic impulses, subtle movements on turns, the subtle oscillation of the line through the water, whatever. Bottom line is, I need to be able to fish, 5, 6, 8, 10 feet deep on one rod and deeper on the other rod, but I really want to experiment to see if I can score more fish by using a shorter leader. So these are things I'm going to be playing with, and of course I'm going to report back to you guys, but I would encourage you guys to experiment too. A long time ago, the cool guys in trout fishing decided that Leadcore was obsolete, but I can tell you, it is having a massive rebirth. Anglers in the know run a lot of Leadcore. I mean, just look at what's happened, to my guide service over the past, say, month. We've caught trout weighing 7, 8, and 12 pounds plus a 25-inch 5-pound holdover every single one of those fish came on my Leadcore outfits. And I'm running downriggers, I'm running top lines, but all those big fish, they all came on my yellow Leadcore rod with my hybrid Leadcore setup. So, you know, after a while, you start to think this isn't chance. There's something behind this. Now, of course, Leadcore can't be used in all situations. If I'm at a lake where I need to get down 40, 50, 60, 100 feet deep, I'm not going to do it with Leadcore. I have to use my downriggers. But if the fish are up near the surface, it seems like there are some really strong benefits to using Leadcore, and the reasons behind those benefits, while they're not concrete science, there are a lot of theories why Leadcore will often outfish a downrigger working shallow, or even a top line, you know, working a lure right near the surface. So anyway, just some questions and answers and theories about Leadcore. You know I love Leadcore. I know a lot of guys out there love Leadcore. I can see all my Leadcore rods I sell every month, and you know, that is going well. So put that in your data bank, get out on the water, do some experimentation. If you're looking for gear, including a yellow Leadcore rod, go on over to fishhuntshoot.com